Welcome to Mornings on Main Street. I'm your host, Stephanie Miller. We are here on the busy 8th Avenue in Nashville, outside of one of Nashville's hottest new venues, the 8th Room. Today, I have the pleasure of taking you inside of this beautiful antique door to show you its interior and introduce you to the curator and owner of the 8th Room. Let me go ahead and say that you will find some of Nashville's rising stars performing in here, as well as some of the biggest legends in the business.
From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is your weather on Main Street.
Well, good Thursday morning. Taylor Plott here. Quick update on your forecast. Starting off your Thursday with some clouds, maybe some showers and storms on the board. Those continue to build across the area going into your Thursday, and that could set the stage for a pretty rainy and stormy afternoon. Widespread rain and some embedded thunderstorms possible during your afternoon hours, and that continues into your evening. So it could be that the evening commute is a wet one across the area, so keep that in mind, especially if you're in the Nashville metro area. That's going to slow things down on the roadways very, very quickly. Those showers and storms continue for the majority of your evening, and then another light batch could be moving through overnight tonight going into your Friday morning. And then we'll do it all over again during your Friday afternoon and evening. Here's your 7-day forecast. At least we're warm. We're still staying in the 70s going into your Friday and at least into the early part of Saturday. Saturday afternoon should be dry and cooler, probably seeing temperatures in the 60s during the afternoon hours. And we are still dry Sunday and into Monday. The more showers and storms move on through during your Tuesday. That could also bring some heavy rainfall to the area.
If you want the latest in weather conditions, be sure to tune in to our Busy Bee Plumbing weather report each weekday on Mornings on Main Street. Brought to you, of course, by Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning. We will keep you updated on the latest conditions outside, like severe weather, heat, snow, rain, and even hail.
Nashville's Nutcracker, presented by Nashville Ballet, returns to TPAC November 29th through December 28th. This holiday season, audiences will journey with Clara and the Nutcracker Prince through Nashville's history and the land of sweets. Tickets on sale at NashvilleBallet.com.
Walking up here on 8th, you know that saying, like, you never know how good a book is going to be until you really dive in. Well, that is kind of what this is. This is where the old Douglas Corner used to be on 8th Avenue in Nashville. And looking on the outside, you're like, oh, something's behind that beautiful red antique door. Then you notice the octopus door handle and you're like, what is behind that? And you walk in and you're blown away. This is the 8th Room. It has been named or dubbed as one of the 26 rooms or music venues that is shaping today's culture. Well, the curator behind that, the owner of the 8th Room, we have Jason Hollis. His wife Erin is also here in the room.
Welcome.
But Jason, thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you. Welcome in.
This truly is a spectacular space when you walk in. Like, again, that red door, an antique red door, but you walk in and it just blows you away. What does this mean to you right off the bat? What does this venue mean to you?
Well, first of all, I think that it's honoring our Nashville history. The Douglas Corner, you know, I played the Douglas Corner in '96, I believe, when 8th Avenue was very scary. But it just had such a robust history for Nashville, and you know, when it went away, we just felt, my wife and I felt like we've got to do something. I mean, we're not bar people, so we felt like we have to do something. So kind of taking the place over and really looking at it and honoring the past, but really kind of looking at like, where do we go to bring something kind of new and interesting to the future of Nashville. So we put our thinking caps on and just started designing.
Well, it is beautiful. And before we get to the rest of the 8th Room and what is inside of here, Jason, share a little bit about your background. You're not only an artist, you've been a producer, you're an entrepreneur. Share some more with us.
So 25 years in the music business, developing, producing artists, finding, you know, a lot of my history comes from studying all the early suits from like Barry Gordy and Andrew Loog Oldham, Ahmet Artigan, the guys that I really kind of grew up in the music business loving. The suits or the producers kind of led me into my love of really kind of like discovering new talent, kind of molding and shaping what that looks like. So my past is kind of interesting. It's been one of a lot of different hats and a lot of excitement. And this is just a brand new chapter and kind of that excitement.
Did you ever see yourself owning or opening up a spot like this?
Well, I mean, my wife will laugh because I think that people that are in the music business and travel around a lot always have a sense or a thought in their head where they're like, oh, man, one day I'd really like to own a bar, or I'd like to have a music venue, or I'd like to be a part of this scene. So I think everybody kind of has that in the back of their head. For us, it really became a reality once the Douglas Corner went away, and we kind of started coming in and getting to know the realtors and getting to know some of the things that might come into this space, and we just really felt like we needed to jump in and kind of save the stage and keep this historic place continuing on, really.
And you've left a lot of the history of it intact, like the brick and the beams?
Yeah, so it's interesting. When we came in, there was a lot of mortar on the walls, so we spent about a year renovating, and it was good because we were still during COVID at that time, so it gave us something to do and get up and work 16-hour days to come in. But yes, the brick had mortar on it, so literally you had to sit there with a sledgehammer beating the mortar off the walls. But it really uncovered like a lot of the history. This is a 109-year-old building. So some of the brick that you're seeing in here is virgin brick. It's really spectacular. When we took the old ceiling tiles down, we were originally going to keep the tin roof tiles, but they'd been damaged, and there was no way to really kind of renovate them or resurrect them. So once I got into the ceiling and saw these beautiful beams, first of all, being a sound guy, you look at it and you go, okay, well, that's natural diffusion and it's more headroom, but aesthetically it was like, this is absolutely beautiful. It opens up the room a bit more, gives it a different character. So I spent about 2 months redoing every beam by hand. So Aaron and I both know just about every brick, everything in this place because we spent so much time in here developing.
That is not easy to do. I worked in real estate for a short period.
Yes.
That's not easy to, fix.
Scaffolding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the design, what you have in here, from the art on the wall, the wallpaper, the seating.
So a lot of it, so when we were designing the place, I went to my wife and my daughter even, and I said, listen, I want James Bond's living room with a cool stage. And so we kind of took that idea and we looked at some of the venues that I really loved in the past, from the Viper Room to Max's Kansas City, and try to incorporate some of those elements into the club. So a lot of the furniture, all the furniture in here is either vintage, from Vladimir Kagan to Persol to Milo Bogman to Gucci. And if it's not, it's been custom made. So Aaron designed a lot of the other seating that's not vintage. But it was just really about kind of looking at details. We wanted everything in here to be what we would describe as like an Instagram moment. You turn anywhere and it was like, it's Instagrammable. And so we just put a lot of thought into the details, from like the vintage frames and mirrors on the wall to even the chairs being able to, all the seating being able to rotate and kind of move around to face the stage. Or we wanted the place to be not a standing room music venue. We wanted it to be a place where you could just pile people in and you could network and you could socialize, and then you could turn around and face the stage or whatever. But
and be comfortable while doing it. I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite chairs I've ever been able to sit in.
Likewise. Well, if this is a good interview, I might let you take it home. So.
Yes. No. Something else I love. Okay, little tidbit. I have a thing for bathrooms.
Yeah.
Like going into a venue or going into a nice restaurant, I'm like, wonder what the bathroom looks like. Spectacular.
Thank you.
Here at the 8th Room.
Thank you. It's all my wife and my daughter's design, but the interior of the women's and then the men's bathroom both have a 1960 Italian subway tile that my wife sourced out. And then there's like a Gucci wallpaper, Gucci tiles, custom-made sinks. A lot of the lighting, not all of it, but a lot of the lighting that we have in the 8th Room was from Preservation Station. So it came out of like an old house or a mansion or some old venue. So the lighting it's all just very interesting from the doors being from 1950, 1960, all the door handles being from the 40s and 50s to old gas lights that we turned into electric lights. It was just a lot of fun expressing your creativity in this manner. It's not often that you get to really kind of look at something of this magnitude and go like, oh, okay, we can do something cool here, and it was a lot of fun. But 10,000 hours, I would say.
That's so many, and I'd say you've done some amazing things. You and your wife both. Do you guys ever just stand here, like when no one's here, and you look around, you're like, dang.
We did for about a year.
Did you?
As we were designing it, like you'd knock, like I said, you'd knock some mortar off the wall, or you'd get like 6 more beams. Stained and finished, and you'd sit there and you'd really admire it. The cool thing about all of this was seeing it come together, really come together. And then you're like a kid at Christmas, because you're going like, I can't wait for the couch to arrive. I can't wait for this chair to be. I can't wait to see what it looks like. And so as it was piecing together, you would stand there. The one thing that I continue to go back to is in our little VIP green room. There is Versace wallpaper, and it was one of the last projects that Gianni Versace worked on before he passed away. Donatello then started releasing his wallpaper projects after his death, but that wallpaper in there, it's so intricate. I understand printing, I understand layering. I go in there all the time and I look at it and I just stare. I'm like, I have no earthly idea how they did this. I mean, there's mother of pearl silk thread woven into the wallpaper. It's absolutely spectacular, and there's those little details where you kind of go back and you just look and you're like, man, this is just really beautiful, and it's cool how it all came together.
It sounds that way. And before we get to the art on the wall, because the art up now is your art, yes. I want to talk about the stage.
Yeah, the gold backdrop. We went back and forth, and anytime you're thinking about what's going to go on a stage, you're thinking about what's going to be photographed. So we just kind of looked at a lot of different stages from a lot of different venues that we really loved. We watched James Bond movies, to see kind of what was on stages. We really wanted to kind of like nod, to an older era, make everything really look and feel vintage. So I don't think the gold draping was one of the first ideas that we had, but it surely was the strongest that we came up with. Because when we placed it up there and you started photographing it, you were like, this is just remarkable. Everybody's going to know that that's the 8th room after a few photos. So the stage is interesting. That is the original Douglas Corner stage. So that's the one thing that we kept intact. The plywood stage, we went in and treated it sonically with acoustics, but we kept the stage and then built on top of it. I had a buddy of mine, John Wilson, who designed all the audio in the club. He worked with us with Martin Audio, who came in from England and helped really design the sound of the room. We have a 65,000 watt Martin Audio system in here, along with their Martin 360 audio speakers in the room, which give you basically, you can walk anywhere in the room and the sound doesn't change, the EQs don't change. But that was a big deal for me. There was a lot of back and forth with, finances, and you're like, well, if you're going to spend this, I get to spend that. But Aaron and I definitely came to an agreement on audio, and I think that we do have one of the best sounding rooms anywhere I've ever been, and that's one thing that makes me extremely proud as well, because you go into a lot of venues and they're beautiful and the audio is just not quite up to par, and for us it was very important to make this room sound phenomenal, and it's one thing I'm proud of, and there's a lot of artists that I think kind of agree with that. So
well, and it has to be. It's a music venue.
It is.
You know, and so of course you want that to be, spot on. Talk to now about the art. It's your art that's up, but you also highlight other artists.
So I had an art show a few months ago, and what really started with the David Bowie and the Grace Jones pictures. There were 2 photographs that I really wanted in our club, and I wanted the the original photographs, the black and whites, and I just couldn't source them. So I mean, Andy Warhol has always been like one of my big inspirations. So I was like, well, you know, I'll just paint them, you know, instead of, if I can't find them, I'll just paint them myself. So it started with Andy Warhol and Grace Jones, and then I just kept making more and more pictures of artists that I love, and ended up doing an art show and sold a bunch of paintings out of here, and I really kept the ones that I wanted to keep hanging in the club, but during our art show, we did a 8th Room Hall of Fame, which you know, are some of the artists that I truly love in Nashville, that I believe are, you know, breaking boundaries and kind of like lifting their heads up as independent artists that are going to go on to do big things in this town. So our first inductee was my friend Cody Ballou, who's a phenomenal artist, and you know, kind of what we did was we made an original painting, and then we created lithographs for them, and all of the proceeds from the sale of the lithographs go to Cody's charity of choice. Okay. So it's just a way to kind of highlight an artist, showcase an artist, a local artist, put them, you know, on the wall, and also kind of give back.
What is it that catches your eye, whether it be about art or you hear something that makes you turn around? What is it about either end of that?
I think it's just all individuality. Is that a word? Is that a word? I'm totally dyslexic. I can't, you know, just be something that's creatively fresh and new. You know, I don't know, like the guys that I grew up around, like I said, were a lot of like music producers in suits who had their thumb on the pulse of creativity, and they were the guys that were looking at like what's next, even from a musical standpoint to like a fashion standpoint, from like Halston and Valentino to like, you know, one of my heroes, Karl Lagerfeld. It's just being able to kind of look at uniqueness in everything.
You have come, I mean, you have done so much. Has your dyslexia been a problem? How did you work through that? Because there are a number of people out there are working through, you know, their own sort of hurdle or whatnot. Was that a problem for you, and how did you work through that?
Oh yeah, it was a horrible problem. I mean, I'm a Gen Xer, so we didn't have a lot of the breakthroughs like we have now. For me, it was, you know, failing out of, I think, 4th grade, and you know, understanding there's a problem, and then just learning how to go about dealing with it. You know, for me, I kind of read backwards. I reverse everything. So if I get your phone number wrong, I usually know it's you know, there's a reversed number in there somewhere. I mean, for me, you know, the hindrance has been like balancing checkbooks, or, you know, I screw numbers up all the time. That's why I've got a great mind, mathematical mind, in my wife, who takes all that on, because I would really mess that up. Past that, I think that you just learn how to balance what it is that you're working with. For me, I know, like when I read something, when I get to reading it, I go through a process of reading, but once I read it, like, you know, it's in there. So it's not been something that I openly talk about a lot. But it's been an issue for, you know, all my life, really, and it's just one of those things that you power through.
For others out there who could be dealing with dyslexia or something else, what can you say to them to keep encouraging them? Like, you know, you can do anything you put your mind to. Oh,
I think that's it. Yeah, I think even from an entrepreneurial standpoint, it's like you just gotta, like, once you put your mind to it, I think you can do anything. You know, I was taught that. My mom drilled that into me at a very early age. Like, anything that you set your mind to, you can achieve. And then as you go, you know, you kind of get older and you mature and you start listening to different, you know, Bob Proctors or, you know, Tony Robbins or different guys, and they're kind of reassuring things like that. I just think that's what it's all about. It's mind over matter, really.
Jason, thank you so very much. I do want maybe some fun facts about yourself. How do you relax? How do you just, how do you chill?
Oh, wow. Probably long walks and good tequila.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A song that's on your playlist over and over that you could listen to. I don't know if that was the only song left.
Oh, right now, oh, wow. The only song left? Oh, man. I don't know. Probably Sympathy for the Devil, Rolling Stones. something off of Oasis. But the new Fontaines DC album right now, Romance, is I think they're nominated for a Grammy or something. It's record of the year, I think. That's been on my playlist, kind of going round and round. My playlist moves so often and so quickly that's just a hard question, you know?
Well, I think you answered it perfectly. Now, what about for you, your biggest influencer in your life?
Oh man, so many. My mom.
What does she think of all your success?
I mean, I think she's just proud.
Yeah.
You know, she's proud of. I mean, any parent. You know, my dad's proud. Everybody's proud. You know, I think my mom has been such an influence for me because she's just always been that person to just keep going. You know, you fall down, just keep going. Keep going. You're fine. Keep going. I have many influences. You know, I mentioned some in this interview, but biggest, yeah. I mean, she's probably the closest thing to God on earth for me. So, you know, I hope that my daughter looks at her mother the same way. And I hope that most people look at their moms that way because, you know, moms are, they're the backbone, I think, to anybody that is successful.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that. What's to come for the 8th Room? What do we need to know about its future?
Follow us on social media. That's all I can say. Yeah.
And I have to say that, I mean, phenomenal photos on Instagram, but to come in, it's something completely different to see it in person.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, you never know who's going to be here. So, like I said, follow us on social media. That's really kind of how we communicate.
Any final thoughts from you, Mr. Hollis?
God bless America and long live rock and roll.
Thank you so much for your time. Very much appreciate it. Thank you guys for yours, but don't go anywhere. We're not quite done. We'll be right back.
This holiday season, the largest lantern festival in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. Experience more than 1,000 all-new handcrafted lanterns, towering creatures, magical worlds, and a North Pole village. At the center of it all, the Smashville Ice Rink. Welcome back to Zoolumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
Busy bee, yeah, busy bee. If you need
Hold on, y'all, hold on. I need to make a call. Hey, this is Brianna with Busy Bee. I'm giving you a call to let you know your technician is on his way.
333.
Guys, not yet. Not yet.
Busy bee, oh,
Now I'm ready, guys.
call 775-7833.
Welcome back. We're still here at the 8th Room. I'm with Jason Hollis, its curator and owner. And let me tell you, I just had to ask a few more questions because I have more things that I want to know. One being the octopus. First off, you have the door handle outside. That's an octopus. This behind us, the logo is on your water here at the 8th Room.
Yep.
What is the significance of the octopus?
So I think, you know, designing the club, I knew that I wanted the name of the club to be The In Room. I just didn't know what it was. So my daughter and I were in Baltimore, and we went to this sushi restaurant, and they had a sommelier, and I'd never, you know, ordered sake from a sommelier. And I was like, that's cool. So I ordered a bottle of sake, and they delivered it, and it was like this really beautiful Japanese octopus. And I took a picture of it, and I sent it to Aaron, and I just took a napkin and I wrote 8, and then I said the 8th room, and I spelled it out, and then 8, you know, 8 tentacles, and then I started kind of playing with the octopus design, and I was like, this is very James Bond, and so it just kind of started to, you know, move into the overall vision. But I think now it's pretty cool. It's kind of iconic. You can put, we've got it in our beer, our water, napkins. So I think people look at that now and they identify like this is the 8th room.
It's synonymous, that's for sure. Thanks as always for joining us here at Mornings on Main Street. Enjoy the rest of the day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.